FBI, all of the state and local agencies dealing with security, the Port of Seattle, ATF, and a lot of work from traveling to Geneva to looking at the NATO conference in Washington, D.C., trying to do the best they could to understand what both the threat was and then how to plan to do it.
It just makes me furious.
Building owner Wal Louis says he wanted police to arrest the demonstrators who occupied his 3-story building at the start of WTO meetings. He says they left a mess.
We're just cleaning up the mess right now. There's some human waste up there that we haven't removed, and nobody wants to touch it. We'll try to find an outfit to do that.
Instead of eviction, police asked housing activists to negotiate with demonstrators. Sharon Lee of the Low Income Housing Institute convinced the protesters to voluntarily leave the building, in part by offering them temporary housing in a private nonprofit shelter around the corner.
I think we avoided a major confrontation.
This is a failure of leadership.
No, my friends, it's not a failure of leadership. From the start to the finish and even after, the anarchists were housed. They were protected. They were not to be arrested by Seattle police. It's a staged, managed operation. And since Seattle, these same anarchists have been used in Washington, D.C. to create a state of emergency. For a day, they allow them to spray paint pig on police cars and attack officers. And then the police are released once they're at fever pitch. They are useful tools to neutralize the general population's ability to engage in political protest. After the anarchists had put on their display for the news cameras, the authorities had all they needed to rationalize a total suspension of civil as well as human rights publicly in front of everyone's eyes. They started declaring that people couldn't have banners or posters or even stickers or buttons on their clothes against the WTO. Anyone who got in their way was arrested and shipped to a FEMA center, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. In direct violation of Posse Comitatus, had Delta Force on the ground from day one of the demonstrations and protest, continually integrating the local, state, county, and city police under federal command. This should be a giant red flag for any American concerned about their God-given rights and their freedom in this country. You see, for over 20 years, the Federal Emergency Management Agency has been building and constructing, maintaining concentration camps as well as the personnel to incarcerate literally tens of millions of Americans. It seems now, with some of the latest developments, they are attempting in a psychological warfare program to condition and control the populace so the populace will actually believe that all of this is needed to maintain the public safety. You've already seen the facts, my friends, all of the problems in Seattle, and yes, even in Washington, D.C. in 2000, could have been prevented. It's a handful of violent offenders offering the crisis so they can offer their solution. I would ask the police, why are you engaging in this? You know it's all stirred up and stage managed, as well as the military. Why be parties to this? Why be parties to destroying the country that your children are going to grow up in? Why? You can stand up. You can stop it. You can educate your friends and neighbors. That's the solution to this out-of-control government engaging in mass mind control and manipulation of the police, the military, as well as the general population. Break your conditioning.
At least 250, perhaps more, and those that have been taken into custody from the streets of downtown Seattle protesting for a variety of reasons. The World Trade Ministers here on their visit. You see them here with their hands pretty much cuffed behind their backs with those plastic sort of strap handcuffed apparatus. They are being led into the Sandpoint Brig. Remember, we told you about this story, dancing all the way in some cases. We told you about this story a couple of weeks ago. A number of the neighbors in that area of Sandpoint Naval Air Station were shocked to hear that the old brig was being reopened just in case it was needed, and it has been. As we said, at least 250 arrests now, maybe more.
And we've seen 400 people arrested. The facility at Sandpoint, we're told, is full. We're told they did not create another one at Boeing Field.
but they continue to arrest people, and they continue to crack down hard on the protesters this afternoon.
That no protest zone, as we call it, is bordered between Lenore and Seneca and Bourne and 4th Avenue. We call it a no protest zone.
Some people were taken in forcibly into the building to be booked, and those people, I'm told, have been refusing to give their names or their hometowns or any information to authorities. They are being fingerprinted, and some of those people have already been taken down to the King County Jail for additional processing. So it is a very, very slow process out here, and right now, as I said, it is basically a stalemate between the protesters that are here on the Metro buses. There's 2 Metro buses, basically half full, and the police who have been processing some, but now at this point it's a waiting game.
Emily,
Dan,
I would
Kathy,
have to
back
say
to you.
that police, while we all want to see people get their legal rights, I would think police are looking at this as kind of a win-win situation. Those people are on the buses, they're not on the streets.
Some of the protesters that are here now were earlier at the corner of 8th and Lenora, where about 40 people were arrested. They are pledging to make this a non-violent protest. They want to be able to make their point about the WTO. And now it seems, Brad, that really has shifted more from the anti-WTO stance to an or pro, I should say, constitutional rights. And we're seeing chants now instead of down with the WTO, it's like freedom of assembly, freedom of free rights. These people are angry about the fact that they're not allowed to protest peacefully today.
That certainly does seem to be the case. Let's go to Nicole Rodriguez, who's down there in the action, to get her perspective. Nicole?
Hi, I'm standing here right in the middle of the crowd that's protesting, and I want to ask this person in front of me, sir, can you tell me what this is about when the police came and...
Police never left. They've been here all day. From the moment there was any more than 3 or 4 people on the street together, they've suspended our right to gather together on the street. The Constitution's been suspended in Seattle today. These people were doing absolutely nothing.
Nobody was directly confronting the police. No one laid hands on anybody. Nobody touched property. And they were arrested anyway solely because the WTO comes to town. China and other foreign governments wander in here, and they've suspended our Constitution, supposedly the greatest democracy in the country. And now they're gassing everybody. What did you see here? Did you see any violence?
In downtown Seattle today, the First Amendment ended at 4th and Spring.
Any part of an organized protest today?
Not only could you not say what's on your mind, you couldn't wear it.
Give me that. Give me that. Sir, let's not get into a big scuffle over it.
This man had an anti-WTO sticker on his backpack.
He took it off my... Right. There's no protest down here. You saw what happened yesterday to your city. We're not going to let it happen again, okay?
Not allowed to have a sticker?
Not here.
These officers stand guard at just one corner of a 50-block no-protest zone in downtown Seattle. Since a civil emergency was declared, talk of free speech, at least past this point,
It's a no-protest zone, sir.
became moot.
You just took his button, am I right?
He did. He reached onto his body and pulled it right off. I asked if I could go through. He said I couldn't if I had a button, and I wasn't going through the line, and then he ripped it off my jacket.
Now, if I say I'm protesting WTO, I can't go in. If my T-shirt said I supported the WTO, could I go in? That's not a protest.
It's a no-protest zone, hence no protest.
Backpacks and bags were also searched for banners or gas masks.
Gas masks are illegal to possess today in the city of Seattle.
How can you guys mandate something like that?
What's that?
Just curious, how can you mandate something like that?
Because they declared the city a state of emergency.
But you don't know what thoughts are in my head, right?
I have no idea. Are you protesting? Are you protesting? There's no protest zone down there. If you go down there and protest, you risk arrest. Okay? I'm just telling you that. You understand that? Okay.
What country is this?
It's a situation that is clearly uncomfortable for those who want to get through to protest and those who block their way.
What we're trying to do is keep protesters out and the business people and citizens go in, okay?
City leaders believe the free speech of yesterday came at too high a cost. That's why, at least for today, the First Amendment ended.
Yes, the First Amendment ended, and the police got a chance to, well, confiscate political banners and train the public how to proceed in an orderly fashion to the camps. Internment camps or concentration camps are nothing new in the history of the world. As early as the 1940s, hundreds of thousands of Japanese Americans, many who were fourth generation, were forced into these centers. One area for the children, another area for the women, and of course the men. The men made good workers. Federal documents show that these programs were not scrapped. They were simply put into mothballs for later use. Recently, camp construction has drastically expanded here in the good old U.S. of A. And it has nothing to do with political parties. They're all two sides of the same coin. In the 1980s, the concentration camp program got a big boost. And a little bit later, we'll get into the big push, the 1990s, right into 2000.
Colonel North, in your work at the NSC, were you not assigned at one time to work on plans for the continuity of government in the event of a major disaster?
Mr. Chairman. I believe that question touches upon a highly sensitive and classified area, so may I request that you not touch upon that, sir.
I was particularly concerned